Is there allegedly more details coming very soon? Well, apparently yes, and that's not even according to me. Zebec made a post saying that, basically. They said official launch details coming very soon. Now, what is this about? I'll talk about that in today's video, even though nothing I say is financial advice. This is my personal opinion, my perspective, and I am not telling anyone to do anything. So, Zebec recently made this post saying how the next chapter of Zebec payroll is on Stellar. Now, we already know that Zebec has a partnership with Stellar, but there is actually more to this because they're actually planning something quite special, in my opinion. For instance, Simon, the CEO of Zebec, recently discussed Zebec's multi-chain strategy and upcoming rollout of the enterprise payroll product on Stellar. And again, below that, it says official launch details coming very soon. So if we think about this, there is something that could very well launch soon in regard to the enterprise side of things when it comes to payrolls, especially when it comes to Zebec and its partnership with Stellar. This, I think, is really impressive because this does open a lot more doors, in my opinion. If we take a look at the original Stellar and Zebec partnership, a lot of people thought, first of all, that, oh, it's going to have a very heavy emphasis when it comes to the retail side of things. And to a large extent, that sentiment is still there, but now we do have confirmation that there's going to be something in regard to the enterprise market as well. So this right here is just a total game changer in my opinion, because Zebec, it has a focus when it comes to the retail side of things, but the enterprise side of things, that could be really, I think, so amazing because that is sometimes where all the action is at in some cases. Take a look at, for instance, what historically fostered the growth of the internet. It was enterprise adoption. When enterprises truly started adopting the internet in a massive way, we saw what really happened. That was historically speaking, by the way. Could it be the exact same case here? It wouldn't surprise me because enterprises, they typically have a lot of capital, they typically have a lot of resources, and they have the volume to kind of facilitate that type of fantastic growth, usually. So when it comes to Zebec, again, just when everyone thought that they were done, they're like, no, sir. They're still cooking, they're still doing things, and keep in mind, Stellar, it is so massive. If we think about it, it's arguably the second most popular project as of right now within this space in terms of global trade and finance. And Zebec already planning more things. I'm just so surprised when it comes to this because this kind of came out of left field, right? A lot of people thought, oh, Zebec, they're not really going to care about the partnership anymore, but apparently they do. They're still working on things. This is really impressive. Not to mention, we haven't even really seen too much about the Ripple partnership yet in regard to Zebec. Now, it was already announced, but we haven't seen anything come into fruition yet when it comes to that. So imagine if they kind of repeat what they did with Stellar, but when it comes to Ripple, they do that as well. Like, let's say they do something regarding the enterprise side of things. That's game, set, match right there, because we already do know that a lot of enterprises do care about Ripple. That's the thing. So if a lot of enterprises out there maybe are focused on payrolls and yet they are a fan of Ripple and they see something like Zebec, who knows, maybe they might make use of that Zebec and Ripple partnership, in which case that would be just so fantastic for Zebec in terms of adoption, popularity, and notoriety. This could be really amazing. Now, could this announcement in regard to, again, what they're planning to do in terms of the next chapter when it comes to the Zebec and Stellar partnership, could that maybe have caused an almost 6% recovery in the past 24 hours when it comes to Zebec? I think maybe, because if we take a look at it, a lot of other projects out there, they're still kind of down. And Zebec is one of the few that kind of did something in terms of like an altcoin. Now, I'm sure a bunch of other projects also did something too, but in terms of like the popular ones, we take a look at Zebec, it actually made a pretty slight recovery given the current conditions not being the best. So if we take a look at that right there, clearly people again are being affected by this recent update, or this recent post, I should say, but in a good way because they're actually reacting to it in a pretty positive way, in my opinion. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this almost 6% recovery in the past 24 hours, it's very minuscule in the grand scheme of things. Again, it's nothing that's really gonna, blow my hair back or something, but this does, I think, set the tone for Zebec moving forward, because we have to consider we're not even halfway through 2026 yet, And we already saw a Stellar partnership and Ripple partnership, and they're even planning for more in regard to the Stellar partnership, especially when it comes to the enterprise side of things. That is just, I think, legendary behavior, because it does showcase that Zebec, they're not content with just a simple partnership with Stellar. They're just not content with that. They kind of have more planned, in my opinion. This is really impressive. Keep in mind, what would happen if Zebec had a partnership with Google? Now, am I saying this for fun? No, because Simon literally was at the Google office not too long ago where he had a discussion with the Google team. So could you imagine if, let's say, Zebec could actually have a partnership with Google, and then also seeing the Algorand, Stellar, and Ripple partnership? That's like game, set, match, in my opinion. Now, at that point, they're probably still going to try and attempt to do more things, I would assume, based off their track record. But could you imagine a Ripple partnership, a Stellar partnership, and a Google partnership? That'd be so legendary. Now, we haven't heard anything confirmed yet when it comes to the Google partnership, because, again, Simon just only went to their office. Who knows what would happen? But if history were to kind of repeat itself, and much like when Simon went to the Ripple office in London, and then not long after that, we heard about a Ripple partnership, if that sort of event kind of plays out the same way, but when it comes to Google, and maybe we hear about a Google partnership, wow. Now, again, I think all of this right here could really kind of set up Zebec to have a better foundation maybe later on for the future if the market were to kind of take off again. Because now I think Zebec's fundamentals, its foundation, so to speak, is way better than last year. Last year, Zebec had nowhere near this amazing in terms of the fundamental qualities. It just didn't. It didn't have a Ripple partnership back then. It didn't have a Stellar partnership back then. It just didn't have that. Now, of course, for quite a while, we already know about XRPL being one of the supported chains when it comes to Zebec, so that's nothing new. But a Ripple partnership, like a full-on type of partnership like that, that was new. That was this year, keep in mind. Also, the Stellar partnership was this year. That's really impressive. And now, people like to say, but yeah, they have nothing else planned. Well, keep in mind, quite soon, we could very well see the mobile version release when it comes to their super app. We already have the desktop version, but the mobile version, again, that could allow for better adoption, for better notoriety, because not everyone wants to use it on the desktop. You know what I mean? Some people out there just want to use it on their phone. So when it comes to Zebec, they're still, planning all these type of things, which has gotten me very impressed, actually. And again, I know I just recently made a video when it comes to Zebec, but seeing that post right there in regard to Stellar, I had to just make an update when it comes to that, because that was really impressive. Like, that is really amazing in my opinion, how they're even still thinking about that as of right now. But again, I'll be sure to make more updates when it comes to Zebec, so hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. It's been Lee the Captain. Thank you for watching. I'm out. Peace. Bye.